Hi, Greg the brickitect here. Today we're going to take a look at build number 9 from the LEGO Build-A-Book More Amazing Vehicles. This is the F1 Racer. For complexity, they gave it a 3 out of 3. Functions, a 0 out of 3, that's the first time that's come up. And pieces, they got a 2 out of 3. For the design notes, the F1 Racer says it has a low chassis, aerodynamic shape, open wheel design, air intakes, front and rear wings. Now I have to say, last week when I was building the big rig, I looked ahead and I saw this F1 Racer was the next build. And I was really looking forward to building this, but unfortunately this build really let me down. And I feel like I say that a lot in these builds. Like there's been 9 so far, and I would say of the ones that I really like, there's probably only been about 4. And I feel like they really dropped the ball on several of these, especially considering that there's 278 pieces to play with here. To make some of the mistakes that they've made and some of the stuff that they've done on these is such a letdown. I'm not going to say that I could build something better because these are professional designers that are building these, but there's just some questionable designs, and I want to show you some of the things on this that I just thought, why is it that way? So let's look at this. I'm going to be negative. I'll start with a positive just so it doesn't come off super negative, and I like the shape of this, but the one thing that I really can't forgive them on is this bottom piece right here. I like how this curve comes around, but to have this sticking out like this squared off edge, I think is just a really bad choice. As you can see, if you flip it over, there's just this huge chunk of plastic under here. And that would be fine if it was like that under there, and I like that they kind of flipped it over. They try to do some fancy builds like that with they flip the pieces around and use these studs on the side in different ways. They also did that with the front end here, which was okay. This is kind of a shabby build. It wanted to break apart really like every time that I moved it until they put this cross member here. But I really hate the way that looks, having that hanging out over there. Without that, you think that'd look a little bit nicer. Just not a fan, and I'm not really sure what these are right here. I guess they're supposed to be shocks or something. I just don't know. Again, that's flipped over again, so this would sort of be the top, but they did it that way. And then we go further back, even more negativity. This wing, I just don't know what they're trying to do there. It doesn't look good from any angle. That is just such a shoddy wing. Why? Why is that wing like that? And now, going forward, I don't like this piece here. This is just, I mean, that just wants to come off. It's not even really clipped in there. I've never done a build like that in my life where I've used one of these little hooks to put something like that on. And then you go into the cockpit, there's no steering wheel. There is a steering wheel at the set. I don't understand. Here it is right here. Why couldn't they organize that so that steering wheel was in there? I hate the way that looks without it. I had to go back through the design and look at it. I was like, is there supposed to be a steering wheel? I looked through all of the previous steps. Nope, no steering wheel at all. And I just can't forgive them for that. The back of this looks okay. I don't really like that tan piece that they put in there. I'm not a big fan of that, but that's all right. And then I guess that wing kind of looks good. And then the front, I think the front looks decent. I kind of like the front wing, so I won't be too negative on that. I don't understand why it necessarily needs to tilt up and down like that, or why these pieces are on the side, but it's quite all right. Just not a huge fan of much of anything from this, and it's just a shame. One thing that I did want to point out that longtime viewers of this series will probably chuckle at is that there's no blue seat in this. Every time I make one of these videos I say, and of course there's the blue seat that's in every one of these builds. This is the blue that they use for it. There's no blue to be found on this, which is kind of shocking, which I kind of like it because it was getting kind of overboard, but then I kind of don't like it because there's really nothing distinguishing any color on this, and again, there's no function like it mentioned. I do kind of like these side vents right here. That kind of looks cool, and I like the side of this. I mean, there's a couple nice things about this, but I think that with some changes, you can make this build a lot better than it is right now, and it's just kind of unfortunate because I was really looking forward to this awesome F1 car. So there you go, that's a look at the F1 Racer. I really apologize for being so negative in these reviews, but I just want to tell you my honest opinion of each of these. I mean, I know not every build can be a success, but I kind of expected more considering, again, all the pieces that they have to use from and the fact that these are professional builders. While this is a pretty amazing F1 Racer by its own rights, I've seen better ones, and you know, there are obviously some LEGO sets are dedicated build for F1 Racers, and that's to be expected that they're good, but this one, when I initially looked at it, I thought it was going to be amazing. Certainly wasn't. Again, there's only probably about 4 builds from this 10 build set that I thought were fairly good. And I'll do a final review once we do the final video, which is going to be next week. It's for the excavator, which upon first glance looks pretty awesome. But again, who knows what you're going to run into after you actually build it. Like the forklift, for example, I thought that was going to be awesome, but then the forks didn't work. So just bad design choices. So I will see you, if you're following this series, I'll see you in the next video, which will review the final build from this, and it's going to be the excavator. So thanks for watching.